Pay close attention to this. You know when you're organizing a family trip or coordinating an important project at work, and suddenly you find yourself reviewing the same spreadsheet for the 5th time? You check the flight schedule, the hotel reservation, the daily itinerary, and even the weather forecast for a city you're only visiting in 3 months. And deep down, you know that the other people involved could very well do their part. But every time you think about delegating something, a voice in your head screams, "If I leave it to so-and-so, they'll forget some detail. It'll go wrong. And guess who will have to rush to put out the fire at the last minute? Exactly, me." Then you take a deep breath, take the lead, and utter that phrase that has become your life motto. "No need. Let me do it." Just to remind you, I'm a student of behavior. Nothing replaces the guidance of a professional.
If you keep repeating this pattern, I'm absolutely certain that your whole life people have pointed fingers at you, calling you controlling, bossy, inflexible, or saying you have a morbid obsession with perfection. People around you think you love being in charge, that you love calling the shots, and that you feel superior when you micromanage everything. And then the internet comes along, with all its toxic positivity, giving you that shallow and unbearable advice. You need to learn to let go. Let life take you where it will. Surrender to the universe. Hearing that hurts physically, doesn't it? Because for you, letting go of control is the equivalent of jumping out of a moving plane without a parachute. I know, I've felt it, I've been through it, and it's not good. But let me tell you a brutal secret that will blow your mind today. You are not a power-hungry villain, and you definitely don't have a manufacturing defect.
Your visceral need to have everything under control has absolutely nothing to do with arrogance or God syndrome. In fact, it's a desperate cry for security. You don't want to dominate others. You're terrified of your own powerlessness. Your control isn't a crown you wear to reign. It's a leaden shield of someone who, at some point in the past, was violently caught off guard by chaos and swore to themselves, "I will never again be caught off guard and hurt again." In this video, we're going to delve into the mind of someone who carries the weight of the world on their shoulders. I'll reveal to you through neuroscience why trying to combat the fear of uncertainty with just positive thinking is the worst possible strategy. And most importantly, I'll give you a practical protocol straight from clinical psychology so you can finally sit in the passenger seat and relax without feeling like the world is about to collapse.
So take a deep breath, switch off the mental tabs of what you have to do in a little while, and focus here with me, because taking this weight off your shoulders will change your life. The great and painful truth that no one sees from the outside is your relentless exhaustion. The world applauds you. In the corporate environment, they call you proactive. In the family, you are the safe haven, that official radar that solves all the problems that others can't handle. But when you close the bedroom door and lay your head on the pillow, the bill comes due. It's a weariness of the soul, what psychology calls the burden of Atlas, the myth of the Titan condemned to carry the sky on his shoulders. If you could, if you really had a choice, you would give anything to simply close your eyes, put on some music, and let someone else drive your life for a few hours. The problem isn't that you don't want to rest. The problem is that your fear that the driver will fall asleep at the wheel and crash the car is infinitely greater than your own exhaustion. Doing the work of 3 people isn't selfishness on your part. It's a severe case of anticipatory burnout syndrome. To understand why you function this way, we need to look at the most brilliant mechanism in our biology, the predictive brain. Our brain is, in essence, a guessing machine. It spends energy all the time trying to predict what will happen in the next second to ensure our survival. For a person with a regulated nervous system, the unexpected is just an annoyance. A change of plans is annoying, but tolerable. But for you, who have been trained by life to avoid danger, unpredictability is not an inconvenience. It is read by your body as a maximum level biological threat. Chaos is exactly where you bleed. Go back in time a little and be very honest with your own story. It's very likely that at some formative point in your life, you were exposed to a level of instability that you couldn't manage. Perhaps you grew up in a home with emotionally volatile parents, where you never knew if the day would be peaceful or full of shouting matches, and you had to learn to decipher micro-expressions while walking on eggshells.
Maybe you had to be the famous adult child who hired an internal bodyguard and took on responsibilities too early because the adults around you were unpredictable. Or perhaps you experienced such a brutal breach of trust, a traumatic breakup, a surprise dismissal, something that pulled the rug out from under you so violently that you fell flat on your face without any warning. It was precisely in that moment of intense pain and absolute vulnerability that her nervous system made an instinctive pact. If I can't trust the environment, I'm going to control every millimeter of it.
From that day on, anticipating problems became her self-love language. Controlling the spreadsheet, the organization of the drawers, the vacation itinerary, or even her partner's tone of voice isn't about bossing them around. It's about predictability. If the external environment is under her control with millimeter precision, her brain believes that no invisible pain will be able to attack her from behind. Her entire physical body is trapped in the time zone of her past trauma. But keeping that bodyguard working double shifts, trying to predict and organize the outside world to cure your anxiety inside, consumes a colossal amount of battery power. You spend your days researching, checking information, and trying to figure out who to trust so you can let your guard down for at least a minute.
And since your brain desperately craves a predictable, safe environment where you don't have to micromanage to know things will work out, I have a crucial invitation for you. Make this channel your official safe haven. Click the subscribe button now. Do you know why you should give this command now, using the genius of your own control to your advantage? Because the internet is unpredictable chaos, full of shallow opinions that only judge you. But when you press this button, you intentionally take control of what enters your mind and send a direct signal to your nervous system. Look, we found safe ground. Here, things are based on science, and I don't need to be on the defensive. Delegate to me the exhausting task of spending nights reading neuroscience articles. I'll take control for you and deliver the translated science. Your only function is to click the subscription button, sit in the passenger seat, and focus only on evolving. Did you give your mind the green light?
Excellent. Because now we're going to face head-on the allostatic load that this excess of control is demanding from your body and how to disarm this bomb. You need to be very cautious and careful at this moment. You can be sure of that. Have you ever noticed how asking for help or delegating tasks causes a stomach-churning agony? Rationally, you know you need to share the burden. You try. But as soon as the task leaves your hands, you fall into the delegation illusion. You find yourself orbiting the person, supervising their every move, irritated because they're not doing it as quickly as you would. The problem, understand this once and for all, was never the task itself. What your nervous system can't tolerate is the uncertainty of the outcome. For you, if the other person makes a mistake, chaos will ensue, and your internal prophecy will come true. See, I knew it. If I don't do it, everything will go wrong.
The tragic irony of it all is that trying to control the uncontrollable, the future, and other people is like trying to hold water too tightly in your hands. The more you squeeze your fingers, the more the water slips away. And the more energy you expend trying to obsessively dominate the external world, the more you lose control of your own body in the present moment. Biological consequences are unforgiving. It's that nervous gastritis that burns your stomach even before the real problem happens. It's the throbbing tension at the base of your neck that makes it feel like you're carrying an invisible bag of cement all day. It's chronic decision fatigue, where Friday night arrives and choosing a pizza topping feels like an absurd sacrifice because your brain has already exhausted its quota of calculated choices to avoid disasters during the week. And the most destructive side effect, loneliness.
Your unattainable standard of perfection ends up stifling the autonomy of those who live with you. People feel useless, they become complacent, and you end up exactly where you most feared being, completely alone, having to deal with everything on your own. So, how do we escape this prison without setting off your brain's fire alarm? As I told you, you don't solve an instinctive bodily problem by trying to use only the logic of the mind. If telling you to let it all go at once terrifies you, what's the real way out? We're going to hack the body using a bottom-up regulation protocol, which we call gradual exposure to uncertainty, but which I prefer to call microdosing chaos. You can't cure the panic of losing control by trying to lose control of gigantic things in your life. We're going to do a gradual exposure. Microdosing chaos consists of intentionally injecting small islands of purposeful loss of control into your routine.
It's like a vaccine. You inject a microscopic and harmless version of chaos into your day, so your nervous system creates antibodies and proves to itself that it won't die. In practice, you'll choose scenarios where mistakes cost almost nothing. For example, this weekend, you'll delegate the restaurant choice to your partner or friend. And the golden rule is you won't check reviews on your phone, you won't look at the menu beforehand, you'll just get in the car and go. And what if the place is terrible? What if the food is late? Fantastic! That's exactly the exercise. You won't fix it, you won't complain, and you won't say, "I told you so." You'll anchor your body in the present, feel the discomfort, experience that imperfect experience, and prove to your inner bodyguard the following lesson. Everything went wrong, and I survived. The world didn't end. At work, delegate a mundane task to someone and make a secret pact that you'll let them mess it up on purpose. Bite your tongue, hold your hands, feel the visceral agony rising in your chest, but don't interfere. Let the result be 80% quality. Force the other person to fix their own mistake. Do you know why this is brilliant and definitive? Because you've spent your whole life thinking the only way to be safe was by preventing the fire from starting. You spent 24 hours checking every outlet to avoid sparks. What microdosing chaos does is physically prove to your brain that you no longer need to constantly avoid sparks. With every little thing that goes wrong and you endure without fixing it, you rebuild confidence in your own resilience. You teach that frightened child stuck in the past that the adult you've become today has enough fire extinguishers to put out the fire. You are perfectly capable of dealing with the unexpected at the exact moment it happens, instead of spending your whole life rehearsing disaster in the middle of the night. Your absolute control, that heavy armor you wear every day, was your hero's cape. It protected you from chaotic environments and allowed you to survive until now. You honestly need to put your hand on your chest and thank that instinct for being so strong and loyal to you. But look around. The war is over. Carrying lead armor in a flowery field is no longer protection, it's just a prison. You no longer need to anticipate tragedies to have the right to exist in peace. The worst is behind you. The person most capable of dealing with any unforeseen event in the future is yourself. Little by little, step by step, start teaching your body that it's safe to lower its defenses. Allow yourself to be deliciously imperfect. After so long being everyone's exhausted driver, you deserve to sit in the passenger seat, look out the window, and simply enjoy the ride. The world finds a way to keep turning, even when you decide to close your eyes and rest. You're not crazy. Your pain is validated, and we'll see each other in the next video. Can I look forward to it? See you later.